take some nice deep breaths. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Really relaxing your jaw. And then we'll start scarecrow. So you'll turn your head to the left and flip your right arm over. Take a deep breath into your chest. And switch. Right arm flips over, up. Left arm flips down, palm. You're looking towards your right hand. Another deep breath. And switch again. And just keep switching your scarecrow as many times as you'd like. At whatever tempo feels good. Taking nice deep breaths into your mouth, into your nose, out through your mouth. And then end in the center with your head with both palms up, arms in, goalpost. The knees have been together, the feet wide. Your feet stay wide and both knees follow one direction. And then back and over to the other direction now. And again, you can take a pause on each side if you want. Or you can just keep going side to side fluidly, whatever feels good. Still taking nice deep breaths, like we started with. And then stopping back in the center with the knees touching. Take your hands and clasp them together under your neck. Your neck just creates this little, takes up the hole that is naturally there. And you're just gonna maintain it as you just keep your head on the floor and make a double chin. And then point your nose back up to the ceiling. So you're just kind of rubbing the head along the floor a little bit, just like by a centimeter amount of movement. Your hands are just kind of taking up that hole under your neck. And you're just trying to make a double chin with your head on the floor a couple times. You might feel the front of your throat muscles engage. A little stretch behind the top of your neck. With your hands staying on the floor, you're going to nod again, and then keep that little double chin tucked in, and lift your head a tiny bit off the floor for a sec, and then relax it. And then do that nod, pick your head up off the floor just barely, and hold for a second. And like I said, your hands aren't following. Your hands are staying down. You're just starting to kind of do a little more work from the front of the neck, stretching the back of the neck. Now go ahead and clasp your hands under the bottom of your brain. Lift your elbows a little bit so you can see them, and then you do that same nod, that same little bitty head lift, and then you start to curl more from the chest, softening your breastbone in and shoulders, and that's part of your spine come off the mat. And then you come back down. So you do that same little nod and barely lift, and then the remainder of the work comes from moving lower along your spine so your head stays in that double chin tucked position. Just a couple more. Nod, soften your breastbone in. This next time you'll stay up and support your head. Let your arms kind of roll your head side to side. So we're actually just turning the head a little bit. Keeping that little double chin feeling, trying throughout. Got one more, and then we're going to start to add a little more of the middle spine. Let your ribs start to join in on the spine twist. Couple more. And then you'll center and rest your head down. For now, take your arms and clasp them in front of you like you're hugging your body. And start to move your pelvis and your lower back. So it's as if you had sand in the sacrum. You're pouring the sand into your tail, and then you're pouring it into your lower back, top of your pelvis, pouring the sand, kind of like how you would pour it from one end to the end of an hourglass to the other. So what should be happening between your tailbone and the mat is your tailbone is down, the bottom of your tush is down, and then the tail curls away. And then in opposition, that lower back is stretching in arched position away, and then it's rolling down into the bed. And then find what the middle is, the center between those two places. And then place your hands down, scoot your feet hips width apart, and instead pour the sand to the right and pour the sand to the left hip. So how we did the hourglass up and down, now we're doing that sand pouring right and left. Notice my legs are trying to move minimally. So I'm really just moving my pelvis. My legs are trying to be calm. And then you'll make a circle. So you'll pour the sand back into the lower back and make it go in a circle around the right side of your pelvis to the tail, to the left side, and back into your lower back. And then again and again, my legs are trying to move minimally. So it's just kind of massaging the lower back and the pelvis around on the bed. Reverse. Seeing how big of a circle you can pour that pelvis around. And then find what you think is that center point where the sand is in the middle of those positions. And then you'll bring your right knee up and your left knee up. So my knees are up to the ceiling over my hips. My feet are dangling down towards the backs of my thighs. You'll take your palms on the front of your thighs and they're straight and high on your thighs. And your shoulders are down. Draw your belly in, and you're going to now try to pull your knees towards your nose. As you can see, nothing visually happens. My arms are stopping it. And my belly button's pulling into my body. My low belly is tightening in to my body, and I'm taking deep breaths. You should still be able to breathe, even though you might be doing a little shaking. And then take a rest. So it's just a little ab warm up. You're going to put your right foot in the middle of the mat and put your left leg on top of your right leg. Arms go out to goalpost, but this time they're in a goalpost where your fingers are pointed up to the ceiling. You're trying to press the back of your armpits into the bed and let the knees go right and your head go left. And then your knees go left, but your head goes right. While you're doing this, you're not lightening up on the little action of the armpits pressing down and wide into the bed. One more on this leg. You'll stay with this leg tucked in. You'll unfurl your left leg out to straight. The arms still stay anchored. You push your right foot down. The knee goes straight forward, and that tips, well, that sand idea from before, tips the sand way over into the left side of the hip. Make sure the knee doesn't veer out or in, off center. It's straight out over the right foot and then back down. And again, you reach, you push your foot down into the bed and then back down. Pushing the foot down, reaching the knee forward and down. Just one more. Just warming up the bridge idea as well as stretching a little bit of the front of the hip, thigh, and back. So replace left foot in the center, right leg over the top, and first you start again. Knee sways, looking the opposite way, and then the other way. One more each way. Are you still active in the back of your armpits? And unfurl and straighten your right leg. Reach the left knee forward, over your left toes, roll the sand over onto your right hip side, and back down. And again, as you go about it, you're really reaching out through your knee. Every time you just think, could I stretch it forward a little bit more, opening the front of your hip, lifting up a little higher, and back down. Two more. This idea of this knee reaching forward will come in handy for the next exercise. And down. Bend your knees, put your hands down by your sides. Reach both knees forward, lift both sides up high. Stay there. Take a breath, take a moment. If you'd like, you're going to take the weight out of your right foot and lift the right leg up to tabletop. In Pilates is what we call it, trying to not move anything else. And then put it back down. And then the left leg just comes up for a moment. And back down. And now you keep your hips at level. They just go side to side. And again, like the other stuff before, I'm trying to move my hips. My legs are trying to move minimally. And as I do this little typewriter hip action, like a typewriter returns swinging from side to side or sliding from side to side, I'm rolling my spine down 1 inch at a time. Notice where there might be some sticky spots where you'll get a little bit stuck and a bunch wants to come down at once. That's where you're going to try to like slow down, try to work through those sections all the way through the pelvis. So even though my tush is on the floor, I'm still typewritering it to the bottom. Hug your knees into your chest. I like to hug behind my legs. Just take a breath. Take your hands, you can keep them behind your legs. You can put them on your calves. Or you can do this yoga move where you wrap your fingers around your big toes. And you're going to keep your right knee into your chest, but straighten your left leg out to the side. And bring it back in. Straighten the left leg out to the side. And bring it back in. You can either do that one more time or you could do both. So you could either be straightening your right for a second and then your left, or do both and do maybe a little rocking on the back of the pelvis. Let's do that exercise one more time where you push your knees away and your knees try to pull in. And you're taking deep breaths. The sand is in the middle of the pelvis. Remember from before. Take a couple where you could still be able to breathe. And then let your left leg go down. It can be bent or straight. And you're holding behind your right thigh. Stretch your right leg out to straight and flex your foot. And then bend your knee and straighten. Make sure you're holding somewhere that you can actually stretch through the leg straight. So if you're holding it so close to you that you can't bend it, slide your hand down your body towards your hips and see if you can move the leg away from you until you can get a straight position. Stay straight for a second. Bend your right knee into your chest. Put your left hand on the right leg. You can hold, I like to hold like my outer right calf. And right arm can go out to the side like you're just weighting yourself down. You're bringing that right knee towards your left shoulder, looking for a stretch on the like the rear end on your right side. And we're going to do a little more rear end stretching. So you can bend your left leg if it's not already bent and rest your right ankle on your left thigh. Take your hands. If this is enough stretch, just stay here and you might just slightly glide the right thigh away from you. Make sure this right foot is flexed. If you would like a little more stretch, take your hands behind your left thigh like we did with the double leg, but now a single leg behind your left thigh. And you're drawing your left knee into you, but your right knee is staying open. Your right foot is flexed. And then notice if you lean a little bit on the right hip on the right side and then on the left side, notice how that changes the stretch. You might find you like one stretch better than the other, or that you want to move from both to both equally. And then switch. So you can just, again, right leg can be bent or straight. Left leg is going to stretch up and flex. Really flex, pull your toes towards you. Do a little bend and straighten. Do a little bend and straighten. You can take a nice inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. And again, make sure you're holding somewhere that your leg is able to straighten the back of your leg. Two more. And you'll stay straight. And you'll just take a breath in this stretched position for a second. Bend your left knee. Put your right hand on your left calf. Left arm is your anchor out to the side, and you're pulling the leg a little bit across towards like your right shoulder, right earlobe. Trying to just get a stretch on the left side of your tush. Bend in your right leg if it's not, and rest your left ankle on your right thigh. Flex your left foot, and if you just want to stay with the right foot down and just glide the left knee away from you, if that's a good stretch, stay there. If you'd like to add on, you take your hands behind your lifting right leg, and you're bringing your right leg in as your left knee is staying open. And then again, rock side to side and see how that might change where you feel the stretch. You could always stay if you feel like it's better on one lean direction, or you can just keep swaying. And then uncross. So if you have any kind of back problems or osteoporosis, I recommend rolling onto your side, one side, and then using your hands and getting yourself up to sitting, or if you're pregnant. But if not, you're going to hold behind your legs, and you're going to nod your chin, and you're using your arms and your legs. Your legs are trying to stay put in this bent position. You're bringing yourself up to it. And then you can either hold, or you could even put your feet down and just hold the shape. If you have the osteoporosis, any of that from before, just come up to sitting and wait for a second, okay? But if you're not one of those people, you can do a couple of rocks along your spine. My head doesn't touch as I'm moving back, but my shoulder blades and my ribs and my tush comes up. And then you're up to sitting. So, I usually turn sideways in my bed now. Tuck your legs over to your right, kind of like you're sitting in a skirt. And then you're sitting up tall, and you spine twist towards your legs. So I'm spine twisting towards my left, because my legs are over here to my left. And then towards the left corner of the bed, I stretch over. And I've still got that double chin that we talked about near the beginning of this class. Double chinning it. Really feel like I'm breathing into my right side. And then you come up and untwist, move your legs around to the other side. So I'm legs tucked to the right, so I'm going to spine twist towards the right side of the bed and reach down towards the right side of the bed. You'll come to elbows and knees. Elbows under your shoulders, knees under your hips. Arms are parallel to one another and shoulder width apart. You slouch your breastbone and your shoulder blades move towards each other. And then you lift your breastbone up and feel your shoulder blades widening, as wide on your back as they can stretch. And then again, you narrow your shoulder blades, widen your shoulder blades. Narrow, widen. All the while I'm just trying to maintain my spine is straight. Last one. Keep your breastbone lifted and your shoulders wide. Lean forward as far as you can. Lean back as far as you can. Lean forward. Lean back. Lean forward and back. Maintaining the shoulder blades, maintaining the arm placement, the hand placement. Notice if your hands have started to spin in. Work on keeping them rotated parallel with one another. One more. This one you end in child's pose. In child's pose, big toes are together and your knees are a little wide just for the addition that we're going to do. Arms come back to goal post, and you lift your head, look down your bed towards the foot end, and then you try to look up towards the ceiling, but my elbows don't come down, So hopefully you feel a nice work in your middle spine muscles, and then come back down. Inhaling on the way up, elbows staying down, exhaling on the way down. Inhaling on the way up, exhaling on the way down. Just a couple more. And down. Last one. So we're going to work with that in a minute. So recall how that felt on your spine. You'll come up to hands and knees and do cat, where your spine is trying to round evenly, kind of like a rainbow from your head to your tail, a nice rainbow-like shape. And then cow, you reverse the spine the other direction. Feel your tush sticking out, and your breastbone is trying to reach through your upper arms. And then you're going to do it again, cat. And cow. One more. And then crawl out onto your belly. I like to hang my head off the end of my bed, off the end of the bed if you would like to. That would be fine. Like I hang kind of my collarbones and head off the end and start from there. Or you can instead bring your arms by your sides, or they'll be on the end of your bed at this point. And usually my feet hang off the other end of my bed, which is kind of nice because some people, their feet start to cramp if they lie down like this, so it's kind of nice that they're off the end and not having to deal with that. And you start the same way in child's pose. Like we did in child's pose, you peel up. This time, if it's comfortable, through your spine and straighten up through your arms. If this is too intense, walk your hands forward. If it's not intense enough, walk your hands backwards. Then you'll bend your elbows, you'll put them down. So you start how we did in child's pose, coming up to where the elbows don't lift. And then when you get there, you let the elbows lift, and you come up and back down. Let's do this one where you stay. So you come up, you're going to bring your right ear towards your right shoulder. Bring your chin down to your double chin. Roll it around to your left ear and up, other way. Left ear, down to your double chin, right ear and up. Coming all the way down and come up to hands and knees. Curve your spine into cat one more time. I like to lean back and forth, feeling my spine, the top end get a little rounder when I lean forward, and my bottom end of my spine get a little more rounder as I lean back. And at this point, I come off my bed on the side. My bed's a little higher, so this depends on the height of your bed. But I bring my right leg up onto the bed, and then I scooch my hands on the bed, and I scooch my left leg back like a lunge with my foot tucked under. Scoot over a little more so maybe you can see it in the video. The more directly across your shin is, the more intense the stretch will be. The more you pull your heel back to the end of the bed towards you, the more your knees in front, the less intense the stretch will be. You're trying to feel your hip bones and sits bones are nice and even, and you're upright through your spine. And so hopefully you're getting a stretch across the front of here and the back of your leg, as well as your glutes on your right side. Left arm reaches up to the ceiling, right hand is down. And you're going to side stretch over towards your right hand, towards the right side of the room. Just increasing a little more of that left waist, so as stretching that we got going on. And then upright. This is where I usually clasp my hands behind my back. With my right leg in front, I clasp my right thumb on top. And then I reach back behind me towards my left heel. My spine is just trying to be long, not arching my back, and I'm reaching my knuckles back. And then switch. So, left leg up, and again, the more there's an angle between your foot and your knee, the less intense the stretch is, the more that shin bone is parallel with your mattress, the more intense the stretch will be. And the other leg is back, stretched out back through your heel, toes tucked. Hips trying to be even, and spine upright. Right arm up. Reaching over to the left, leaning onto your left hand, relaxing your left shoulder.
Keeping now my left hand on thumb on top, since my left leg's in front. Stretching back towards my back heel. Breathing into your chest. Last, we only have like one more thing. You can do this on the floor, but I think you'll see me better if I do it up here on the table. You don't do this on your bed. You do this on the floor. But you just stand next to your bed. Hopefully there's enough room. And then you roll down through your spine, bending your knees, and whenever needed, you can put your hands on your thighs to get down. And then I walk forward into a downward dog, or backwards into a downward dog, depending on where you set yourself up in your room. And in downward dog, my sits bones are reaching up and wide, my shoulders are wide on my back, and there's lots of space between my ears and my shoulders. Lift your heels up, lower your heels down. Lifting up, you're really pushing your fingers down into the floor and lifting your sits bones up away from your fingers as far as you can reach them. And then I do one foot at a time. One foot, then the other, then the other. Back and forth a couple times, just rolling through my toes and my feet. And then you can walk your feet and hands towards each other, whichever makes more sense, feet to hands or hands to feet. And then bend your knees and roll up to stand. You can have your hands on your thighs and support yourself, or they can just dangle. And you roll up. And then once you're standing, you roll your shoulders in some circles. I like to go forward, up and back and down. And then picture, what is the center of the circle that you're doing? What is the center that your shoulders are drawing? And put your shoulders there in the center. And you're done.